You know, when I think of classic horror, I usually think about summer camps and hockey masks.
Right.
But you've sent us something a lot different for this deep dive, the 1983 film Curtains.
Yes.
And and judging by the research that you've given us, you're really looking to uncover what makes this film different from all those other slashers.
Exactly. Yeah, Curtains is so captivating because it uses that familiar slasher setup, but as a springboard
Hmm.
to explore, deeper things.
Right.
It's not just about like who gets killed,
Yeah.
it's about like the psychological unraveling of these characters as they chase their dream.
Exactly.
Mm.
So to set the stage, we have a group of actresses who have been invited to this secluded mansion in the dead of winter.
Right.
And their mission is to impress this demanding director, Jonathan Stryker,
Hmm.
to win the lead role of Audra in his new film.
Yes.
Sounds pretty standard so far, right?
Well, this is where that standard slasher formula kind of takes a turn.
Okay.
One of the actresses, Samantha Sherwood, she's gone way beyond your typical audition prep.
Okay.
This woman is so obsessed with becoming Audra that she actually checks herself into a mental institution to get into character.
Okay. That's next level commitment.
Yeah.
But knowing this is a horror film, I'm guessing that this doesn't actually work out for Samantha.
You got it.
Yeah.
Stryker, he's playing his own twisted game.
Oh.
Instead of being impressed by Samantha's efforts, he invites other actresses to compete for the role,
Oh, wow.
essentially discarding Samantha after
Yeah.
all of that.
Okay.
And Samantha, well, let's just say she doesn't take rejection well.
I imagine that sparks some serious tension in that already isolated mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of that mansion, you mentioned Curtains really uses the setting to build a specific atmosphere.
Absolutely. It's not just a backdrop for the kills.
Mm-hmm.
The setting is so crucial to heightening that sense of dread.
Okay.
This isn't some sunny summer camp.
Right.
It's a sprawling Gothic mansion, and it's surrounded by snow and ice.
Mm.
You can practically feel the isolation and claustrophobia closing in on these characters.
I'm getting chills just imagining it. So
Yeah.
you've got this eerie, oppressive atmosphere, a group of ambitious actresses who are all competing for the same role, and then there's the killer.
Yes.
Give us the lowdown on who's picking them off one by one.
Ah, yes, the killer.
Yeah.
Here's where Curtains really veers into the visually disturbing.
Okay.
This isn't your typical masked murderer.
Uh-huh.
This one wears a blank porcelain doll mask.
A doll mask.
Yeah,
Okay, that is seriously creepy.
I know.
It's like something straight out of a nightmare.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's so unsettling because it taps into that primal fear of the uncanny.
Yeah.
Something that looks almost human,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just off.
Yeah.
There's this scene, and you've probably seen stills from it.
Okay.
The killer, in that doll mask, ice skating across a frozen pond towards one of the actresses,
Uh-huh.
a sickle glinting in their hand.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an image that sticks with you.
It's not just scary, it's visually arresting too. It
Yeah.
sounds like Curtains is playing with this kind of psychological horror that goes beyond just the physical threat.
Right.
It's like getting under your skin in a different way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about what we know,
Mm-hmm.
an isolated location that traps the characters.
Right.
Samantha's descent into obsession with this role,
Right.
then this terrifying, almost surreal killer in a doll mask.
Yeah.
The film is using all of these elements to create this sustained sense of unease and psychological tension.
Yeah, it's like a film itself is putting on a mask, kind of luring you in with those familiar slasher tropes, but then subverting them to kind of delve into something much darker and more psychologically complex.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to unpack as we continue this deep dive.
Okay.
We're going to look at how Curtains uses those layers of psychological horror to comment on the darker side of ambition and the often exploitative nature of show business, especially for women.
This is getting really interesting. So grab your warmest blanket
Yeah.
and maybe a nightlight,
Yeah.
because we're about to go deeper into the chilling world of Curtains.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore how the film's troubled production actually contributed to its unique style and why it continues to fascinate horror fans all of these years later.
Welcome back. We're picking up our deep dive into Curtains, where we left off talking about that unsettling atmosphere and the killer's creepy doll mask.
Yes.
But before we go any further, I think it's time we address the elephant,
Mm-hmm.
or rather the doll in the room.
Right.
The film's notoriously chaotic production.
Oh, yes, the behind-the-scenes drama. It's almost as fascinating as the movie itself.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Curtains was plagued with all of these conflicts between the director and the producer,
Wow.
leading to script rewrites, reshoots, even a change of directors mid-production.
So it sounds like a real-life horror story was unfolding off-screen.
It really does.
But how did all that turmoil affect the final product?
Well, it's interesting because what could have been, a recipe for disaster actually contributes to the film's unique dreamlike quality.
Oh.
There are inconsistencies in tone and pacing,
Uh-huh.
and even some plot points that don't quite add up.
Right.
But instead of ruining the film, these quirks just add to its unsettling, almost surreal atmosphere.
So it's like those production problems accidentally amplified the psychological unease the film was already going for?
Exactly. It creates this disjointed, off-kilter feeling,
Okay.
as if you're watching a nightmare unfold.
Right.
And it plays into one of Curtin's most intriguing themes,
Yeah.
the blurring of reality and illusion.
That makes sense. I mean, after all, these actresses are already caught up in this world of performance, right?
Yeah.
Where they're constantly putting on these masks and embodying different characters. And then
Mhm.
you have the killer's doll mask, which adds another layer of distortion to our perception of what's real and what's not.
You're right on the mark. That mask becomes a symbol for the facades we all wear, the roles we play, the ways that we present ourselves to the world.
Yeah.
And the film is asking us to consider, like, what happens when those masks become indistinguishable from our true selves?
Whoa, that's getting deep, but it's also super relevant, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we all put on these different masks in our daily lives,
Yeah.
depending on, who we're with or what situation we're in. It's
Right.
like Curtains is taking that universal experience
Mm.
and twisting it into something terrifying.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why Curtains, despite its initial commercial struggles, managed to gain this devoted cult following over the years. It's not just a slasher.
Yeah.
It's a film that invites us to think about identity, performance, and the masks we all wear to navigate the world.
I can see how that would resonate with audiences, especially those who are drawn to horror that goes beyond the surface level.
Right.
But what about its critical reception? Did critics initially dismiss Curtains as just another low-budget slasher?
Well, there were definitely some mixed reviews at the time,
Yeah.
with some critics focusing on the production issues and inconsistencies in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there were those who recognized its artistic merit,
Oh,
praising its visual style, its eerie atmosphere, and its willingness to explore these unconventional themes within the horror genre.
so it's like some critics were able to see past the rough edges and appreciate the film's unique vision.
Exactly. And as time went on, Curtains started to be re-evaluated and recognized for its contributions to the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
Critics and fans alike began to appreciate its blend of psychological thrills,
Right.
surreal imagery, and thought-provoking themes.
It's fascinating how a film that was initially considered a bit of a mess could later be hailed as a cult classic.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of word of mouth and the enduring appeal of something truly original.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful films are the ones that defy easy categorization, the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some questions of our own to answer as we continue our deep dive.
Yes.
Next up, we'll be looking at how Curtains uses its slasher framework to comment on the darker side of show business and the often exploitative treatment of women in the film industry.
Join us for part 3 as we explore the film's feminist undertones and analyze its lasting impact on the horror genre.
We're back for the final act of our deep dive into Curtains.
Yes.
We've talked about the creepy atmosphere, the killer's unforgettable doll mask, and the film's chaotic production that somehow made it even more unsettling.
Right.
But now let's shift our focus to one of Curtains' most thought-provoking layers.
Okay.
It's commentary on the treatment of women in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial aspect of the film.
Yeah.
Curtains doesn't shy away from exposing that darker side of show business, particularly the ways in which women can be manipulated and exploited in their pursuit of fame.
Right. And it's not just implied. It's like
Gotcha.
woven into the very fabric of the film. The entire premise revolves around this cutthroat audition process.
Yeah.
Where these actresses are pitted against each other,
Right.
vying for the approval of this powerful male director.
Exactly. Jonathan Stryker, the director, He becomes this embodiment of the patriarchal system that often controls and defines women's opportunities in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He dangles this coveted role in front of them,
Yeah.
using their ambition and vulnerability to his advantage.
And think about how he manipulates them.
Yes.
He preys on their insecurities,
Right.
encourages their rivalry, and ultimately discards them once they've served his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chilling reflection of the power dynamics that can exist in such a competitive industry.
It is. And remember Samantha Sherwood,
Yeah.
who went to such extreme lengths to prepare for the role.
Right.
Her obsession with becoming Audra can be seen as both a symptom and a critique of this very system.
Okay.
She's internalized these pressures to conform to be what men like Stryker desire,
Yeah.
to the point where she loses sight of her own identity.
It's tragic, really. She's so desperate to be seen, to be chosen, that she allows herself to be consumed by this role.
Right.
It raises the question, how much of ourselves are we willing to sacrifice for our dreams? And at what point does ambition turn into self-destruction?
That's the heart of the film's commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Curtains is holding up a mirror to the entertainment industry, exposing the ways in which women are often objectified,
Right.
pitted against each other, and ultimately treated as disposable.
Yeah.
And it's a horror film, yes.
Yeah.
But the true horror lies in those unsettling truths it reveals about the world we live in.
It's a reminder that those masks we wear, the
Yeah.
roles we play, can sometimes have a cost. And it challenges us to consider the compromises we might make, consciously or unconsciously, to achieve our goals.
Right. Curtains isn't offering any easy answers,
Yeah.
but it is provoking those important conversations. It uses the horror genre to explore these complex issues of gender, power, and the pursuit of fame in a way that's both disturbing and deeply resonant.
So what can we take away from our deep dive into Curtains?
Well, it's more than just a slasher film. It's a chilling exploration of ambition, identity, and the dark side of creativity,
Right.
all wrapped up in this visually striking and psychologically unsettling package.
It's a film that lingers in the mind, prompting us to question the masks we wear, the roles we play, and the systems that shape our lives.
If you're looking for a horror film that challenges conventions, provokes thought, and stays with you long after the credits roll, then Curtains is definitely worth seeking out.
Just be prepared to confront some uncomfortable truths about the world we inhabit and the masks we all choose to wear.
And with that chilling thought, we'll bring this deep dive to a close.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed exploring the twisted world of Curtains and uncovering its hidden depths.
Until next time, keep seeking out those films that dare to be different, that challenge our perceptions and make us think about the world in new and unsettling ways.